Where do I go? Where will I be? It's who I am. What will they see? Maybe I pray. Yeah. At the end of my days. Yeah. What will they say? What will they say?
Rob told me that.
Oh, okay,
he told me
cool.
you were looking to start a podcast, or about to start a podcast and stuff too. And it must have been like either the day before or a day after I reached out to you. Somewhere around there.
Actually, was like 2 or 3 days before.
That's
so
crazy.
that was pretty cool. Yeah, and I was like, yo, I took it as a sign. I was like, yo, that's dope. That's dope.
Right.
Let me check it out and see what's going on. So
Yeah,
perfect
man.
timing.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. That's what because he had just told me that last week, because he was asking, he's like, man, you talking to Mike soon? So as a matter of fact, I think we're talking next Monday. He's like, he's about to start it. So what's your plan with that? What are you trying to do?
Man, 2 cents with Mike Taylor. Pretty much, man. Still trying to work out the kinks on like taglines and stuff like that. But the heart behind it is just basically, man, sharing my faith, advice, ideas, thoughts, just 2 cents. Everything pointing people to the direction of Jesus, no matter what it is. And then the H is stand for hobbies. You know, because I believe that you take Jesus wherever you go, man. Take Jesus wherever you go. When I go to the gym and hoop, still Jesus. When I'm bowling, still Jesus. So, you know, and all of that spells my faith. You know what I'm saying? All the FAITH, you know, it's an acronym type of thing. But, you know, I have different people on chopping it up, do some music, do creative ideas, things that are like, I hosted a TV show many years ago too, man, and it's kind of giving me the feel and the flashback or something like that. We're having different people on and getting them, getting the community stirred up and on fire for Christ.
I like that, man. How often you trying to do something?
That is, you know, schedule proof. Not trying to set it in stone. Don't want to be stuck and be like, I have to do this, and this, because life is busy. You know what I'm saying? I got kids. One of mine's going to college now. I'm making sure I spend time with the family and don't neglect that at all. But at the same time, being obedient to whatever God sees. So I'm not trying to be a stickler like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time. You know, we're just going to kind of live life and let it happen organically.
Yeah, dude. I love it. I love it. So how many kids you have?
I got three boys. Raising
boys.
Young men.
Dude,
Raising young men.
You're an expert, son.
Hey, come on now.
How old are they all?
I got, the oldest is stepson. He's 20, just turned 27, and then 19 and 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the hardest age?
That's a great
Most
question.
challenging age?
I'm guessing now that they're older, just because we haven't done that yet. You know, we haven't done the older raising and growing them up and, you know, pointing them in the right direction. And now they're actually on their own, too. I got young men, so they make their own decisions. And I'm not as, you know, involved with it because, you know, you got to let the young men be young men and learn life.
Yeah,
so I'm guessing now, you know, as they're getting older, because I ain't going to say it was a cakewalk, but, man, I love it. I love it. Love it. Being a dad is awesome.
Yeah, dude. And I think, too, I would imagine, so I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
I can parent more from an authoritative standpoint where I can tell them what to do because I'm your dad.
Right.
Whereas now it's like for you, I bet you probably lose a little bit of that because they're on
unless
their
you're
own.
ready to fight, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but at the same time, now my kids are great kids, man,
Yeah.
have been awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much the nuts and bolts of it, man. As they get older, they have more freedom, and you can't kind of like put the hammer. You don't want to put the hammer down the way because they have to learn. You still want to be their proper guidance, but at the same time, allowing them to learn life on their own and make the decisions to see, you know, kind of what you raised.
Yeah. Where are they all now? They all around the area?
Yeah, well, so yes, they are right now. My the 19th, Nico, he's actually will be leaving. Man, my boy gonna be leaving in less than 2 weeks. He's actually going to Georgia, scholarship for hooping, so he'll be playing ball and stuff like that. Georgia Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah, way in Georgia, about 8 hours away.
How's mom doing with that?
Mom is okay. Mom is okay.
Leaving
You know
the
what I'm saying? Yeah, she wasn't at first, but when they went on like the visit and walked through and got to meet the people, that kind of calmed her nerves down a whole lot. So now she is like super excited.
Yeah. Did you play college ball?
I did not. Want to. Did not. You know, and that'll be a little bit of my testimony whenever you're ready to dive in
man.
on that.
Tell me a little bit more about yourself too. Where you from? You're from Greenville?
From Greenville, born and raised. You know what I'm saying? Being here pretty much my whole life. Yeah, man. Native to the town, man.
All right. Where'd you go to high school?
Went to high school at Conley.
Okay.
Crazy thing is, I stayed across the street from Rose High, but they broke the school district up, and they sent us out to Conley. So I went to Conley. Yep.
Okay. You know Derek Clark?
Derek Clark.
He went to Rose. No, he lived behind Rose in that.
In KP or Lakeview? Behind it, KP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Derek Clark.
He played baseball. He played for Rose. I'm trying to think. I'm not trying to ask how old you are, but he probably is in his 40s now, late 40s maybe. But anyways, he went to Rose, but he lived behind Rose and he went to Rose. So it's interesting you say you lived across from Rose, but went all the way to D.H. Conley.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you went to Conley.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you were on this fire for Jesus when you were talking about when you were.
That I was or wasn't?
There wasn't.
No.
I have a feeling.
No. Was not. Anybody who know me from back in those days, man, it's crazy because definitely complete opposite.
Yeah.
Complete opposite. Actually, I went to Conley and I dropped out of school at 15. So, so it didn't last long. I wasn't at Conley for long. Didn't graduate. We on?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, shoot. My fault. You started chatting. I didn't see you hit play or nothing. So I thought we was chatting up. But yeah,
no,
okay.
Man, yeah. So, it's just real informal, man.
Oh, man. So let's get into it then.
Yeah, man.
So pretty much I grew up, man, I was a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
Great kid. You know what I'm saying? Great kid. No problems. Real good. Only child, though. Grew up single mom. Man, even another barrier was mom white, dad black. We grew up black neighborhood. So I'm kind of like the outcast.
Really?
You see what I'm saying?
Like your mom had a difficult time at that, you think, because she was white and there was no visibility of a black parent.
Yeah. Pretty much. And I wouldn't say she was loved. She was loved by the community. Only white person there, you know what I'm saying, standing out, like a sore thumb, but at the same time embraced. But still, it's a disconnect.
Really?
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting, growing up that way. But it taught me early on that you don't have to fit in, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, because if you're trying to fit in, you could adapt and fit into things that are positive, or you could, which could be the good thing. Yep. Or if you're not trying to fit in, you could rebel and, go the complete opposite. And pretty much, man, long or the short, though, is I grew up a great kid, single mom, only child. And the problem with that was I could actually drop a pin on when my trouble started. I had good grades and everything, Matt. Everything was great, but no father in the house.
Was he around in the area?
He was around in the area, and I'm not quite sure how they set up the visiting, but because I could remember as I got older, because they split when I was like 2. So I don't remember any of that. Right. But as I got older, I could remember, going to stay with him maybe twice a month, like I'm guessing like bi-weekly, and then those started to stop as well. So no dad in the house, right? And I could remember sitting back like, man, dad ain't come get me this weekend.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm like, yo, well, he'll be calling me. Hey, yo, son, I'm gonna come and get you next weekend. Sorry I didn't make it. So I go right back like a kid, get excited, go and pack my bags, sit it by the door ready to go. Pops don't show up. I'm like, dang, man, dad didn't come. But he'll call me. And every child needs a man and wants, for whatever reason, I don't know what the longing is, but they want that man in their life, right?
Yep.
So I would sit back there again, pack the bags again, sit it by the door, you know what I'm saying? And I be ready to go. Dad don't show up. That's why I say I could drop a pin right into when it happened. Around 12, I remember sitting there thinking he didn't show up. I said, you know what? Man, I don't need a man in my life. Man, forget that. I am the man. That mindset. I didn't at 12, come on. What kind of man you gonna be? What kind of decisions can I really make? But that was my mindset and my heart at the time. And that's why I said I could drop a pin into when it all started, when the trouble started. Because right around then at 12, that's when I got involved in things that I was staying away from. Man, I hated the way a cigarette smelled. Wouldn't dare think about smoking or anything like that. Started smoking, weed, cigarettes, started selling a little bit of weed, doing these things. Okay, so now, and look, let me pause for a second though, because I'm running.
No, you're good, man.
So my pops, before I get too deep on him, the last 5 years he was alive, we had a great relationship. God restored it all, right?
When did he die?
2012.
Okay, 11 years ago.
Yeah, 2012 or 13. And the last 5 years that he was alive, though, was so awesome because God restored that. So I don't want the picture to be bad because it was dope. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew my journey. You know what I'm saying? Even though we wasn't together like that, but he knew my life. He knew I was in and out of jail. He knew I was selling dope. He knew these things, and then he seen me get saved. and he saw that my life truly changed. So he was so proud of me and talked about me. And I'm a young man getting up into adult, you know. Yeah. And he was just so happy, and you could see it in his eyes. And I talked to him, and I actually was the one that led him to the Lord. So I got to lead my dad to the Lord, man.
That's how God works, man.
That's how God is. He restores things.
Let me ask you this before, as you keep going through your journey. Do you think did your dad carry shame just in terms of maybe leaving, feeling like he was guilty for?
I think so. I think he felt that. You know, never really came out and said it, but you know, like I said, towards the end, some of the conversations that we would talk about and have. He would say things, and I could kind of see it on him, you know. And, you know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Now, however, I would have loved to bypass all that stuff I went through and had a pops pointing me and show me in the right direction. But God turned all things around and make them, you know, he'll work things to the good for those who love him. And he worked that thing out for the good, you know. But, yeah, so I was pretty much, what was I at?
12, 14,
12, 13, 14. So, you know, just got worse because I just started at 12. Really wasn't doing it regularly at all. Just, you know, just tried it here and there. And then, you know, 13 progressed a little bit, started a little more. 14, same thing. Started smoking weed daily by 14, you know, and, you know, selling drugs. And then 15 is when I met this girl. And I was still, like I said, I was in the dope game selling weed, but I was only making like $50 to $100 a day. You know, on a good day,
for a 15-year-old.
For a 15-year-old, that's good.
Yeah.
Great lunch money. Go to school, whatever. You know, great lunch money. Jungle juices, honey buns, everything. You know what I need. Hey, my homeboy, you need some, I got you. You know, but
big time.
Yeah, big time for 15. But you know, I met this girl, and she was actually she was selling crack, and you know. Got introduced to that. You know, I was over her house just constantly. We just smoke weed over there, hanging out. And then, you know, I'm selling, making a couple of sales or whatever. But I'm noticing she's making a lot of money. And I'm like, man, and I'm just hanging out over there. We was just friends, just kicking it, nothing serious. And then we just began to hang out a little more and more, longer and longer, right? And so she would leave, and I was just taking over like her shop or whatever, you know. And I just saw a lot more money and opportunity. So my thing was, even at this time, and I was like getting into trouble and stuff, I was all about the money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really, like, I know people and grew up with people that was really about that violent life. You know, they'll do something right now. I don't really care about that. I just wanted, you know, I was chasing money. They gave me a nickname in the streets, called me Cream. You know, cash rules everything around me. You know, and I was like, man, you know, and it kind of stuck with me. You know, and I began to chase money, just chase money. And, you know, so old girl and I, we kind of, you know, split ways, went different directions. And, but the drug game stayed with me. So, you know, I started beginning, you know, selling crack, dope, coke, things that I like. And, you know, things just spiraled away, And that's why I said I could drop a pin on it, because looking back, I could see that it was the absence of my dad that caused all these problems. You know, like, and it took me, like, I didn't just come up with that, like, when I got saved.
I know.
You know, it's like years and years that went by, and I'm like, man, you know, just reflecting back, and I'm like, man, and looking in the mirror, like today, when I look in the mirror, I don't look anything like what I was into or what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? And that's for a purpose, though.
Yep.
Because I'm not. You see what I'm saying? I'm not that person. Like, God blessed me so much so. My life verse is 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man is in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things are passed away, and behold, all things are made new.
Yeah.
I'm that new man, and that's how God works and operates when you give your life to him, right? So let me get to that part then.
Well, and it makes me think, too, as you stop right there for a second, I can't remember where I read this quote, and it just last week it said, life only makes sense when you look at it backwards, but it must be lived forwards.
That's great.
And so it's like, that's the only reason you're able to say these things. Yeah, because you're able to look back and see you didn't know what, I'm guessing, you didn't know at the time you were trying to chase a fatherly figure in the form of money or whatever.
Right.
But you look back and you're like, that's exactly what I was doing.
That's exactly what was happening, man. Everything was lost because I don't know if it was identity or whatever, but I know that it was in the moment that I was like, I am the man. You see what I'm saying? And the way that we grew up with the whole, the mantra back then was keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Like that was late 80s, early 90s. You know what I'm saying? Keep it real. Everything you do, you keep it real. So that's what I thought I was doing. I thought I was keeping it real. And I thought that's what a man was. Because in my neighborhood, you would see people, you know, if they could fight real good, they would say they the man. Not a man, but the man. You know, how much liquor you could hold. That's the man. How much weed you could smoke. That's the man.
That's good.
How many girls you having sex with. That's the man. So these are the identity of a man that I'm seeing, which is completely not the truth.
Right.
But this is what I know to be truth. So this is keeping it real.
Yeah,
so I'm
dude.
involved in all of it. You know what I'm saying? Flat out just, you know, just going at it, grabbing life, you know, and they say, sin to take you further than you want to go and cost you more than you're willing to pay. You don't know it while you in it, but you know that's the road that I was traveling down, and basically it took me further than I wanted to go. I look back, then you completely lost. So how do I find out that I'm lost? Is I'm just gonna bypass all of that because we got some good stuff we could talk about.
Man.
But we'll bypass all that. We get to 2021. Man, I done lived a full life of sin by that time. You
Been
know,
10 years about,
Yeah, didn't think anything about giving my life to Christ. I always said I'll wait till I'm about 50 before, you know what I'm saying, I give my life to
settle
Christ.
down,
you know, live my life. I'm going to have fun. Wait till I'm 50, then I get saved.
So you weren't necessarily an atheist or anything. You just didn't care about God, essentially. It didn't that you
I didn't
think
grow up
any-
in church. So by not growing up in church, I didn't have the awareness. But I definitely wasn't an atheist either. Like people like this is crazy. Like I cussed all the time, but I would never say GD. No, I would never. I just wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like just something
line.
about that. It was like I'm messing with God like that. God is because in my mind I'm like God is God.
Yeah.
You know, so we stay. Even though I wasn't living for him and I didn't know much about him, because I didn't grow up like that. And the crazy thing, though, Matt, crazy thing is, so when I was 12 and I was doing that transitioning, my mom got into the church. But, I mean, you hate to say it was too late, but, you know, my life has already begun to spiral. And, you know, so I wasn't even, it was like, trying to go. But that was the best thing that ever happened for us as well, because she was a praying mom as well. Moms was dope. Mom was good. She was always there, loved me and would be there for me. Even to this day, mom is just awesome, right? Shout out to you, mom. Love you. But yeah, mom is dope. And so we get to 21 and I'm on the porch, right? And I go outside to write some music. And in the time, my mindset is, let's write something dark. You know what I'm saying? Something that's so dark when you hear it, like you just want to knock a lamp over or punch a hole through the wall or something. That was just my mindset, right? And so I go outside and man, I'm smoking a blunt, getting ready. This is how I prepare. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to write a song. And I stayed across the street. At this time, my mom had moved to Aden. And I stayed across the street from a church. And I'm just looking up over the church. I don't even know why I'm looking over the church and saying, you tell me. I don't know why I'm saying this, man. I said like 5-6 times. You tell me. And then I heard this voice speak as I began to write, as I said it, like, you tell me. He said, if I tell you that I told you, then you still wouldn't believe it. I done showed you and you seen it, but you walk with the demons for all the wrong reasons. Look at the seasons and mysterious disasters. This life is soon after. You need to get in church and talk to your pastor. So I'm done.
Dang.
At this point, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm done. I'm like, and honestly, it wasn't even the words. It was that I had this brick wall around my heart. And as I heard, and these words was coming as God was speaking, it just fell and collapsed. And that was the first time that I realized I was living a lie. Thought I was keeping it real. And now I realized my whole life was a complete lie. The presence of God alone and his spirit alone just did so much with just in that moment that, I mean, I can't even articulate and fully explain. All I know is I was wrecked, right? Off of this moment, this encounter, I'm wrecked. I'm crying, I'm bawling, I'm asking for forgiveness the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? So I give my life to Christ right there on the porch. Now, I'm wrecked so much so, I had long dreads at the time. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is because I take off walking down the street and I hear, you think it's that easy? You think God wants you? All the drugs, the shootouts, robberies, sex that you had, you think God wants you? And I'm like, oh man, you right. Why would he? You know, why would he? And I'm start going crazy a little bit. So I'm start like pulling on my dreads and stuff like, first of all, up until this point, now it sounds crazy because up until this point, I had never heard voices.
Right.
Start with, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, is the week? What am I doing out here? You know, like something's not right. You know what I'm saying? So up until this point, but I know it's a warfare though because it's literally God and Satan. So now, like I said, I didn't know anything about the church, but you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty. I pick up well and easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty witty, and I hate to say smart because then you're not as smart as you are if you think you're smart type of person.
I know what you're saying, though.
But you know, I learned things as I go through life about church, but whether it was through different people, I don't know where I picked it up from. But nonetheless, I knew if you got baptized, that's washing away your sins. You know, and I know if you ask God for forgiveness, that's how you get saved. So I did that part, but I was like, man, I don't know what's going on. You right? You know, so I go home. I said, I tell you what, guy, I'm gonna go in the house and I'm gonna run a tub of water. I said, I'm just gonna go under for 7 seconds, and I ask that you make me cleanse, that you clean me. You know what I'm saying? Like I really don't know what's going on. So I went in the house, ran a tub of water, filled it up, went on the water mat, held my breath. I counted to 7. You know, did the 7 thing. Once I came up, I looked down and I had like 2 streams of smoke coming from my waistline. And man, I mean, I'm just looking down. I wasn't afraid, but my mouth dropped in awe, like just looking. And I knew it was God cleaning me out. So I get out and I got a big mirror in the bathroom. And you know what I'm saying? I'm looking in the mirror and I hear these repetitive voices again. Oh, you know, God don't love you. You can't be, you know, that's not this. You can't be saved. You know, you did too much type of thing. And I just start like a wet baby again. I'm crying, man. It was a heck of a day. Yeah. I'm crying, man. I'm crying. Incredible. Yeah, so I'm crying, and I asked the Lord, I was like, God, you know what, man, this is crazy because I don't know the difference between you and Satan. I don't know what's going on right now, you know, but I know that I've been living in error, and I'm trying to grab a hold of you, and you know what I'm saying, and I love you and want to live my life in that direction. And I never forget it, man, just as plain as day as I could hear you through these headphones, man. God said, you no longer belong to the devil. So when I finish my sentence with you, I'm going to end it with my son because you are my child now.
Done.
Talking to me just like you. And I mean, he treated me like a baby. He spoke to me, man. I wish it didn't stay like it's not like that even now today. And I'm older and much older and been in Christ now for 20 plus years. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that moment of him wooing me, man, gave me that security. And it's crazy though, Matt, because it was a guy who stayed behind me named Basket Case, right? And there's a whole weird little story about that, but
he sounds like a handful.
He was. But hey, look, crazy thing is, he knew the word better than anybody I ever known. You know, but he would kind of twist it sometimes, and we would get in debates. And that was my guy. That's the crazy thing about it but we'd get in debates and stuff, but people said all kinds of stuff about him, right? But anyway, he came and knocked on my door, like right after all this happened, right? Boom, boom, boom. So I go to the door, and I'm like, yo, what up? And he looked me dead in my eye, and he was like, the only reason why God saved you, because you live behind the devil himself, and I was going to kill you. And I was like,
and you hadn't talked to him?
That's what I'm saying. I haven't told anybody anything. And see, and that bothered me a little bit because I know by, you know, breaking the Bible open now that Satan isn't everywhere. So I'm trying to figure out how he even know what's happening here. You know what I'm saying? Because this just took place. Just took place. I haven't told anybody, haven't said anything. But instead of getting scared and afraid, it just gave me confirmation because I was battling. Like, I don't know, you know, what's the difference if I'm with God or Satan, because, you know, I'm here just tossing it up, right? But it gave me confirmation that God did the thing that he said he would do. Instead of making me afraid, because he just told me. He was like, hey, the reason why God saved you. And that just gave me a sense of peace more than anything. You know what I'm saying? So that began the journey, man, of me just diving into the scriptures and, you know, leaving the streets and stuff like that. And so by me leaving the streets and having nothing to do never really worked like that, you know, because my line of work I can't do anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that anymore. So what am I going to do now? Man, I stayed cooped up in the house for about 6 months, man, reading the Bible 10 to 12 hours a day. That's all I did was just read the Bible, man. Just wake up, read all day long. And And I began my journey with Christ. And then, you know, I had to step back outside and I would go out,
right.
you know, and things like that.
So what was your first kind of, what'd you do for work after that 6 months or so? Once you...
Crazy thing is, man, I couldn't even find work. I was locked up. We skipped a lot, but, you know, I got locked up a couple of times here and there. And, you know, I was trying to find work and couldn't land a job. But the first job that I did get, what was the first job? First job at my church, old church, Faith and Victory. Man, I was basically the janitor at 22, 23, about 23, because I couldn't get a job for a good year and a half, man. So I did some like temporary stuff, you know, go in a Megaforce and stuff like that.
But you didn't have a job because you were 12 years old when you started this, so it's not like you were working anywhere other than, I mean, doing, you know, on the streets.
That's the only way.
Yeah,
and that's not a job. That's just making money. So, you know, that's the only thing that I knew. And so so I was at the church, man, sweeping, cleaning, vacuuming, doing whatever miscellaneous work that they needed done. Loved it because I got a lot of time to be at the altar, you know what I'm saying, and just pray. Like in there, you know, in the church, you know, vacuuming, got my little headphones on, I'm making music, bobbing with Jesus, loving it. You know, didn't make much money, but hey, you know, I had a job.
Yeah. Establishing a new foundation. Did you feel like it was hard, at least with the guys you were running around with? Did you kind of lose some of those relationships too? Oh, for sure. Had to, for sure. So coming back out was a little weird because, you know, you back out and you don't have friends that you know, that you could go in the same direction with because everyone in the circle was doing the same things. So I didn't have friends and that should be around, you know, but at the same time, you know, I come out, you know, ride around, whatever, and I see people and we'll talk and I tell them about my encounter, you know, because Jesus is awesome. And they'd be like, oh man, yo, Cream, that's good news, man. It's like, that's so great that you got saved. It's like, man, yeah, man, God got you for real, man. If he got you, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm definitely, you know, I'm next. And I be thinking to myself, some of these guys like, bro, you said that like I'm the bad one. You know what I'm saying? You doing a little bit more, you know, like a little bit more than me, but thank God for it, you know, and stuff like that, man. And and here's the crazy thing too, though. I learned at an early age that for people who like to live unashamed. So whatever I'm a part of, I embrace it. You know what I'm saying? Not to be ashamed of it, grab a hold of it and go in, you know, 100% in. But I found that when I got with Christ, and if I didn't tell the people, like you just speak, what up, giving dap and stuff like that, and you talking, and I didn't tell them in the first 2 minutes about me getting saved and, you know, living for Christ, it got harder for some reason. You know what I'm saying? It was tougher as the conversation go on, and you know what I'm saying? Because they don't know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. They still think you're the same Cream. They think you the one running around with these women selling dope, this, that, and the third. So, and it was a little harder, you know, and I dropped the ball a few times early on, you know, without being able to share my faith and express it. So I was like, man, but I felt bad. I was like, man, that's pitiful, yo. Why I didn't say something? So I said, I tell you what. First thing that's out my mouth when I see people I haven't seen, yo, what up, what's going on, Cream? Hey, yo, bro, I gave my life to the Lord, such and such. Just go ahead and get that out there. We got to put that on Front Street early. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, we get that out there because I'm not going home saying I did not tell you about Christ, you know, that type of thing. And so, yeah. Dang. Yeah. So you work for the church. And then kind of just keep building on your faith, getting stronger. It's almost like you were a baby again, too. Like, for sure. Just trying to establish all these old lies in your head and try to establish a new truth of who you are. Yes, sir. It's not like you could go out and be like you are just right now. Right. I had no idea what I was doing. You know, but I got plugged into a good church, good people. And like I said, the biggest molding part to me, I think, was like that 7 months, man, just being isolated was actually a great thing for me because it helped me kind of detox and clean out, you know, all the things that I was into and been through, and getting that word, man. That word will clean you. That word is alive and powerful. You know, it's active. That's what it says about itself, and it cuts through Satan's lies. You know, so anything that was built up, God was just molding me, man. And I mean, I don't even know how many times I read the Bible in that 6 months, man. I'm talking about front to back. Yeah, just getting it out. Just man. I'm not exaggerating. 10 to 12 hours daily. Did you find, because I've been a believer Christian now for 4 years. Okay. Did you find that when you first cracked it open too, all of a sudden the words made sense and they never did before? Or did
I didn't have it before. I didn't have a reference. You know, I didn't have a reference, so I didn't know. You know what? We jumped a lot. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get it to you. We jumped a lot, but I can backtrack a little bit. And so I had a similar experience almost like 2 years before all that went down. Actually, I was 17, so it was in like 97. 97. And I got locked up in South Carolina. So that was my first time actually picking up the Bible and reading, because they had us on a 22 and 2, where you come out one time in the morning for an hour and one time in the evening for an hour. You 22 hours locked down by yourself.
Dang.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? So I had nothing to do, but they would give you books, and the Bible was one. So I began to read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Similar situation. That's why I said it, because I read the Bible, man, I don't know how many times in the little bit of time that I was in there, because I would read it again, man, 10 hours a day.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I ain't got nowhere to go. You know, just reading the Bible, get up, do a couple of push-ups, read the Bible, push-ups. And God did speak, and that's when I found him then. That was like the introduction. But when I got out,
ran to that old life.
Yeah, went back to the old life, and then that was when I had, got back. And actually, man, that's how Satan will do you too. He'll take you further than you were in the past just to keep you lost. Because when I got out and came home, man, I mean, like, things ramped up times 10.
Opportunities just came your way.
It was
opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities. I mean, like evil opportunities, just like, and it took times 10. Like I said, just took me off guard and direction. But that's when I had that whole situation in encounter with the porch, and that's when I count that, because that's when that was 21 years ago, and that's when I been walking with Christ ever since. But so reading the Bible, I didn't really have a reference point, but I did know. And when I read it the first time, the word was still powerful. Man, I found it to be powerful. I mean, it helped me. It changed me for a brief moment, but it did, because I spent time. Hallelujah. Man, I got a saying. Well, it's the Bible. God says, draw close to God and he'll draw near to you. So God is as close to us as we want him to be.
That's it.
In essence, as close as we want him to be, he's there. Because if you make time for him, you start to open up his word and you read, he will show up, and he will meet you right where you at, and he will give you what you don't even know you need.
That's it.
And he will open your eyes, and you'll begin to see things differently.
I want to hear the gap too between where you are now, but I do think I think for men particularly, there's this lie that we believe that whether it's what we've done, mistakes we've made, who we think we are, we think almost that we got to be perfect. We got to get our lives in order before we have this relationship with God. And I got a buddy who is really just battling, and I told him, I was like, man, where did we get off thinking that you got to be perfect? Because anytime I read any story of a man in the Bible, there are some broken dudes.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you look at David,
yes,
adulterer, murderer.
Yeah.
But yet the words he put in the book in Psalms were just beautiful from that pain. You look at, I mean, every one of them. Moses didn't have courage to stand up at what he was being called to do. I mean, you go on, and all these guys are riddled with mistakes. I can't think of only one person that was perfect in that Bible. Everyone else is beyond broken.
Yes.
They're jokers, man.
Yes.
And so how do we get thinking that we got to be perfect? You know what I'm saying?
That like you said, it's a lie that we buy. You know what I'm saying? It's a lie from Satan, because we're not perfect. We won't be perfect, but through Christ, we attain that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Because I think it attacks different people in different ways, and it's something that we view. And men like to lead, and don't want shame. And if you feel like you're not perfect, then you feel like you're not living up to what you should be. Because on the inside, we're wired for greatness. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that everything you do is going to be great.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you'll still get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're still called to it. But everything we do is not going to be great. But we feel, and I think that's my 2 cents on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
2 cents. But
yeah. You're ready.
I know, right?
Yeah. I don't know. And I bought that lie too. I mean, just past mistakes and thinking, man, I'll never be able to get there. But it's like those mistakes, if you really think about them, those mistakes are what will lead you there. only the mistakes.
Absolutely. I mean, the mistakes, I mean, they could be, like, God uses anything. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is. Like, he met Paul, you know what I'm saying? And Paul is, like, 3/4 of the New Testament of the Bible writing it, but, like, murdering Christians and, like, die hard against it, you know? And he used that to be able to convict, you know, Saul to Paul, turn him over, and he began to have a ministry that was, you know, and even then he said he had a thorn in his flesh.
I know.
So even as great as he was, and because to me, I mean, he's a guru in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? And even as great as he was, he still felt something in his flesh that made him feel like something's not right. I'm not perfect, you know what I'm saying? And he knew it. So, I mean, so can we get away from that? I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure. But I do know that, the blood covers it, and that it's just here. Yeah. You know, it's just here for us, and we got to work through that thing, man, and draw close to God, and maybe he'll reveal. When you get those answers too, man, let me know. I'm going to chop it up in here, man, because I still battle with, I think in seasons, you know, because every season, like I said, every season isn't great, you know, and then that's when, I found it in transitioning too, man. Like just having to transition from one season to the next, man, that's a rocky place because you're not where you were and you're not where you're going. You're transitioning, but that causes a little you're not stable. The stability isn't there because you go and you're not sure how you're gonna land. You know, with losing jobs or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to find out a new career or whatever it is, man. That transition period could be kind of shaky and have you questioning, like, man, am I doing it right, or what can I do differently, or, you know, am I hitting the mark, you know, that type of thing. Yeah. So
speaking of that transition, so where'd you transition when you're going back now, a little more to your story? Where'd you transition after you were working at the church?
So after the church, man, I started working at E1, which was a water sampling place. You know, I wouldn't sample the waters, but I go like Bowie's Creek, Dunn, and just picking up water samples, man, bringing them back to the lab, letting them test it and stuff like that. And then I was in that position for I did that for drove the vans, man, for about 2 years, 03 to 3 years, 03 to 06. And 06, I started working in the mental health field and community support. So started mentoring youth, going to the schools, and man, just
what made you want to do that?
Well, I had the opportunity to, and it was in my heart because I was already in. So when I gave my life to Christ, I just jumped headfirst into the ministry as well about a year and a half later. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I was a part of youth groups and outreaches and stuff like that, wrote music, things of the like. So I had a heart for that, you know, and community support and mentoring was very much the same. You know, it was the same as youth ministry, you know, but the only difference was you couldn't just plaster Jesus, obviously, but you could make a difference in young people's life. And so I did that, and I worked in the mental health field for about 6 years, worked my way up a little bit, which was pretty dope and cool, man. And then I began to like do the music and transition like that. But more than anything, man, it was just a heart for the youth, man. Just a heart for the youth.
And this is local youth.
Yeah, it was local.
And is this at least with raising young men, or are we not there yet?
Oh, we haven't even gotten there yet. Oh, shoot. So that was kind of like the transitioning point that I was telling you about, that I got that great revelation of how, I mean, you know, when you're transitioning, is you're not here, you're not there. And it seems to be a little rocky because I went in as program director for a mental health agency, man, just chilling, thinking that I'm going to work Monday morning. And hey, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you how awesome God is. Man. Good God Almighty, man. The night before, Sunday night, I'm watching Sunday Night Football, or at least I thought I was about to. God was like, get out your laptop and turn the TV off. And I was like, man, I'm about to win the game. I was like, well, I got to be obedient because I know it's the spirit. You know, I feel it. You know what I'm saying? So I got my laptop out, turned the game off, and just started typing up programs and different things that I would do. In essence, what it ended up being was raising young men. And it was raising young men, and it just, you know, an outline and a blueprint. And, you know, some list of needs, ideas, thoughts, how I would do it and approach it. Man, and it came to me like a flood, so easy that I knew I wasn't putting this down. And then when I looked at it, I was like, yo, this is awesome. This is awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Who typed this?
It wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? Clearly it wasn't me. You know, I'm pretty dope. But, man, this is good. This is good. So, So I get that out of the way, right? So I go to work Monday. You know, Sunday, the very next day I go to work, and dude is like the CEO, the owner. He's like, man, I hate to break it to you, but man, doors just got closed down, and we're not gonna be able to be open anymore. So I need the key off your key ring. And I'm like, I ain't got no job. Is that what I'm hearing? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm trying to take the key off. I'm trembling a little bit. Like, man, you got to be kidding me, man. And I'm like, I don't even know what to say. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't feel like real. So I give him the key, man, and I go home. So now, oh, man, shout out to Pastor Greg Kennedy, man. That's my heart, man. Open door, man. That's my heart, dude. When I tell you, look, man. So I had a meeting with him around lunchtime that Monday anyway. You know, I was doing some creative just input on different things at the time, and Pastor Greg and I would meet sometimes. And I remember I was going in at 12, so I went in at 12 like I was supposed to. I'm kind of shaking though, you know what I'm saying? I just got laid off. I quit. I don't know what the term is, but I know I don't have a job right now. And I'm grown with kids, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. You know, things was going great, and then it's like not great.
Right.
So so Pastor and I go in to meet with him, and Pastor was like, yo, what's up? And said it so to speak. I was like, look, man, before we dive into anything, man, I gotta get some stuff off my chest. I was like, man, I told him the situation. And man, if you know Pastor Greg, man, one of the famous phrases that he'll ask you, man, one, he gonna give you that hug, belt to belt hug too. It's gonna be close.
Big old
you get that big old bear hug, man. I loved it. You know, at first it was a little weird, but he kind of got me around to it. But nonetheless, he said, hey, Mike, what is God saying? I was like, what is God saying? And then I was like, yo, man, last night, you know what I'm saying? I told him the story. You know, I was about to watch football, guy, and I pulled out my laptop and I showed him. He said, Mike, this is awesome. He said, I tell you what. He said, I'm going to support this right here. He said, you know, we don't have any space or in the church right now because we're fully occupied. And he said, but man, with that van need, I got you a van. He said, don't ever worry about putting gas in or whatever, the van that you need for the kids. And I'm also going to cut you a monthly check to be able to make sure that we support the vision. And I was like, man, awesome. Because I told God, even when the night before, I was like, man, I can't start this. I don't got a van. I don't have a building. But that's on my list, though. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at the list. I'm like, man, I don't have these things. And then I go get a key to the van. He just slide it over. Boom. There you are, Mike. I'm like, man, awesome. So then we got into it, you know what I'm saying? And that's how Raising Young Men was birthed. Skip a few days later, I had another homeboy that had a friend that was a preacher and a pastor at a church, and he was telling him about me because I was kind of mentoring him too. He just got out of prison not too long, and I was mentoring him, and he looked up to me as well and was like, yo, I'm a solid dude. Telling the other guy, hey, yo, he's a solid dude. Telling us both, he said, I think y'all should meet. So I was like, cool, I'll meet him. Didn't know what to come. So we met at Zaxby's, and as we're talking, he don't know me from anybody, right? And this is Wednesday. You know, so this is just Wednesday.
Is just Sunday was
it was Sunday when I wrote it up. Monday we got the van. Wednesday I'm talking to this guy I never met before, right? And he just take a key off his ring, slide it across, and was like, look, man, I got a church. We have it on Sunday and Wednesdays, and we have rehearsal at this time. Any other time, you're free to use it, and it's all yours. I was like, bro,
just like that, you got a van in the building.
Got a van, a building, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is dope. And so all of that. Oh, wow. See, stuff start to unravel.
Yes,
so all of that, right? But the weekend before that Sunday, I didn't even catch that. The weekend before that Sunday, we was doing outreach in KP, the school, the neighborhood you were saying behind Rose. We was doing outreach out there, and as we doing, because I was doing part of the outreach, but I will only go like 2 to 4 times a year is what we would do, you know. And I'll do the music, preaching, and teaching, and back to school stuff, right? And this young man came up to me afterwards, and he looked down. I had on some Jordans. He looked down at my feet. He was like, man, hey, yo, them shoes are fresh. And I was just joking and playing. I was like, oh, man, you got me a little nervous. You about to take my sneakers? Just, you know, we both laughed about it, you know what I'm saying, joking. And he just clinged right to me. And we just started talking, and we chatted it up for a while. And God put it on my heart, man. It was like, look, 3 to 4 times a year is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
These guys need you. And I was like, man, I gotta do more. You know what I'm saying? And not like a pressure to do more, but I get to and I want to, and that was the calling that I felt coming out of me. Like, hey, you could do more. You know. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Didn't have any idea of how it would look or what. I just knew I was gonna go more than 3 to 4 times a year because I felt it on my heart. Right.
Right.
So so that which led to, you know, that Sunday the download came, the blueprint. Then you had a van and a building, you know what I'm saying? It all just came together. And I started off with that one young man, picked that one young man up. We did Bible study or whatever, came back the next week. He had like 2 or 3 friends that wanted to go. And then the following week, man, we filled the whole 15-passenger van up and was rolling ever since.
Going to the church.
Going to the church, Bible studies, man. I picked them jokers up, man, off, you know what I'm saying? I'm still trying, you know, I'm working, doing contract works and things that I like now, kind of get myself back together. Man, we'll go to the church. I mean, I pick up Little Caesars pizzas, $5. We eating pizza every Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? But it's, you know, we're getting pizza and then we're doing Bible study. Break out the word, man. And I mean, like, God was just moving, and we'll go bowling and things that are like, just get them out in the community, man. And just started spending time. Then we started doing, I mean, it started just to grow. You know, we'll take them on college visits so that they could expand their horizon and see more than what they see in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Then we would take them, you know, I started a musical outlet program, allow them to get in it, because I had a studio, you know what I'm saying? So allow them to get inside of the studio and write songs and different things like that. Then we started a basketball program. We're traveling, doing basketball, man. We started, man, I mean, just anything, because I know every young man wants to be a part of something special, and everybody's not academically gifted. You know what I'm saying? They're just not. So whatever they're good at, I will find their strengths. And once I do that, man, we'll create a program for them.
I saw that because I saw that video. I remember seeing the basketball, academics, music. There was like 3 prongs.
Well, you got 5 blocks. You got game prevention, drug prevention, sex awareness, life skills, and educational encouragement.
What gave you? I mean, obviously the relationship with Christ changes everything. But what gave you this particular passion to go after young men?
That pen. I said, you drop a pen on it. That pen land on my dad not being around, not being present. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much, man, raising young men, being a father to the fatherless. You know what I'm saying? Just jumping out there, really helping these guys, giving them the information and pointing them, loving on them more than anything. Because I find that love is what changes more than anything anyway. You know what I'm saying? You can teach and tell, but when you love on someone, man, they just open up.
Don't know you by your love.
For sure. And then just point them into the direction of Jesus, man. That's my whole goal, you know what I'm saying, to point them to Christ, because I know that Christ is the answer. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, if any man in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things have passed away. Behold, he become new. That is the way that we get to be what he created us to be. You know, because we're born into sin, but then we're born again into the man that he created, or woman that he created us to be. And that's my goal, man. That's my passion, you know. You
see yourself in these kids.
I do.
Like
I do.
I do.
I do. When you drop that pen on it and you see it, man, you like, so that's why, you know what I'm saying? That's why I really got a problem, and I really dislike when people, I don't want to sound prideful about it by no means, but when you grow up without a dad, and then you start and you know how that made you feel and how that was, and then you start having kids and you don't want to be a part of their life. Come on, man. That's crazy. It's sad. It's sad. You know, it's really sad. So me being able to see that, and then I'll be able to identify, okay, this is what this man is going through, or this is what this young man is going through. You know what I'm saying? My job is to love on him, make his life just a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying? I got kids to this day, man, that they, you know, call me pops. You know, they know they could come by and get whatever they need. You know, if they ever need a meal, place to stay, lay their head up, whatever, man, we'll do it all. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that we can help them, because that's what it's all about, man. Raising this next generation to be able to stand on their own too and be better than the last one.
What's the biggest challenge with getting those guys off the streets, or just getting them to see themselves differently, or what is the biggest challenge with when you're reaching out to those kids?
Man, the biggest challenge. I'm being honest with you. When you're genuine and you go with love, I find it that now we have some hiccups here and there. But for the most part, man, yo, they ready. They ready. They just don't have people out there to go and reach out and really love on them in that capacity. But when you do, the challenges fall, man. Like when you go out there in Jesus' name with a pure motive and a pure heart, man, I see God move. You know what I'm saying? I see kids that was in the streets, got them flunking, got them, instead of dropping out, was able to help them get into their right grade, or at least promoted one grade level. Yeah. If they flunked 2 or 3 times, we only could get them bumped up one grade level. Get them bumped up one grade level, but finish, graduate high school, start working, having jobs, you know. And then I guess the challenge would be is when they either age out or something happened and they stop coming, and then you just hear and get wind of, you know, what they're into again, you know, kind of, and that kind of hurts, you know, because it takes a village, you know what I'm saying? So it takes more than one person. We all got to, you know, grab a hold of these youth and point them in the right direction. But
don't take this question the wrong way. I've always just been curious about it, especially from your perspective, is fatherlessness seems to be an epidemic, especially with African American community.
For sure.
And this is going to be probably a simplistic question. I know there's probably a very complex answer, rightfully so, but why does it seem like it's such an issue in the African American community of fatherlessness?
Man, I think it's repetition, man. Repetition, you know. I mean, well, shucks, it's a lot. It's a lot of different theories out there too. You could go back further and saying how, you know, during the time of racism and things of the like, you know what I'm saying, how the African American communities was targeted and split and broke, you know, and men had to, you know, wasn't around, they had to go and do this or whatever, and that just created a pattern. And then if you know, just not being taught and educated, you know, just different things, man. So I don't know for sure what would be the if there is an absolute answer to that.
Right.
One spot that where, like I said, you could drop a pin on, but I do know that, you know, when you look at the African American community, that if you talk about it, like if you say Lakeview, KP, Newtown, Morewood, and you just start labeling places that seems to be less privileged and housing authority areas, you know, the numbers go up, and that's the neighborhoods that I grew up in. You know, man, I don't think I seen one father present in my neighborhood. I'm trying to think who had their dad in their life, man. We didn't see dads. We didn't see them. I'm trying to think who had their dad. I'm trying to think if it's one of my homeboys.
That is insane.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's sad, you know, and it's sad. But then that's how we grow up to have kids and not, you know, be present or whatever the case may be. And, yeah, man. So it's just a sad situation. But yeah, I don't think no one, I can't even remember one dad in the neighborhood, man. Nah, I can't. I can remember a stepdad coming around here and, you know, being around for a little while, you know, and then leave. But yeah, that and, you know, but that's it. Yeah, it's tough.
My wife and I were talking. It's funny we're having this conversation. My wife and I were talking last week about, I can't remember who it was, but there was a situation where a dad basically has several kids, and he lives in Greenville and doesn't see his kids and doesn't really want to. And I'm just thinking, like, man, I don't care. Okay, if you can't work it out with your wife or the baby's mama, or and I'm putting aside white, black. I don't care. I can't remember who this person was. But to not really care and know your kid, you have children of your own blood that are in town, and you just don't even want to go have a relationship with them. Yeah. Man, not only is that crazy, but then what does that do to the kid in their mind, knowing there's someone out here who helped create me,
right,
and just doesn't care.
And that's the only narrative that you're gonna create yourself, because when you're absent from a person, you start to feel the neglect. You know what I'm saying? And you ask yourself, well, why dad don't want me? I mean, all kinds of issues start to flow out of that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is it rejection? You know what I'm saying? Am I not good enough? You know, I mean, and I know some people who have parents that uprooted from one house and started co-parenting another family, you know, and spending more time with the stepkids than the real kids, and then that causes issues. So I mean, it's and you know, like you said, and that's no race involved at all. That's white and black. You know,
right.
But you know, so it's tough, and I think the key is, you know what I'm saying, the last scripture in the Old Testament says, you know what I'm saying, God can't, the fathers must turn their hearts to the back to the children, and children to the fathers. Something like, I need to pull it up now, but if not, the world will be smited with a curse. In other words, man, we and I think the father is God,
right.
You know, but obviously, but you know what I'm saying, the fathers have to take their place, their rightfully place, you know what I'm saying, in their lives, because I love single moms. My mom did the best she could.
Heck,
you know what I'm saying? My mom fought, raised me right, man, loved me to death, would do anything for me, but it wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, man, you need a dad. I mean, for young men, you need that dad. You need somebody to grab you by your chest and shake you and say, yo, son, you need to get it together. Pull it together. You know what I'm saying? Moms, they really can't do that, you know. So I think it's very important. And to see the lack of fathers is it's sad. And at the same time, you know, that's why God create programs like Raising Young Men and different other programs that come in and kind of try to fill that void, because he knows we're in a broken world. We're in a fallen world. And it's true that, you know, some parents are absent. So, hey, man, we got to pick up the slack.
Yeah,
Matt.
It's funny how it all works together too. Because if you had just a household with just a dad too, then the kid would probably, I mean, sure, they might be disciplined, sure, they might have a better viewpoint of themselves, but then they're also probably wearing the same clothes every day to school. They're forgetting to brush their teeth, you know, because it's like women are so great at some of the detail things that men aren't, and then men, it's just funny how it all works together, and you need both parents there
and be more nurturing and loving, you know. That's true.
Exactly.
That's true. You know, the mother's heart is an awesome thing.
It's
man.
amazing how
awesome
God created it, just how it's like that. What's your vision from now? So you've been around 10 years with Raising Young Men. What's the vision moving forward?
Man, continue to beat the path, man, and not only just keep the programs that are already established alive, but also we're continuing looking for innovative ways to grow, man. Like, whatever we see a need, we'll create a program or something to be able to help that child, you know. And the goal is just to be able to have unlimited resources to help as many people as possible, you know, just doing God's work and God's plan. Like I said, raising young men and pointing them to the direction of Jesus, evangelizing, reaching out, man, and loving on them, man.
Right.
You know, and whatever capacity that looks like and take, that's the road we journeying down, you know. And when God say move, we got to move. Yeah.
How many kids are typically going like in the program at once?
Well, it's now since COVID, it looks different. Okay. You know, before COVID, you know, it was everything was flowing in abundance. You could do everything, and you know, the world shut down, and you know, you had to stop meeting and different things like that. And some of my kids aged out, you know, and things like that. So now the goal is revamping and starting back over with maybe 4th or 5th grade, because 10 to 18. Is what we normally serve, the population that we serve. And then, like I said, we developed some programs since some have aged out but still needed some assistance, where we'll go from 18 to 25. You know what I'm saying? Just basically that's like getting housing and jobs and things that are like, you know, trying to, you know, be the plug to help them in the community to be successful young men. And we also do young women as well, serve young women as well with some of the like substance abuse programs, the drug prevention, and things that are like, you know, we'll do co-ed and just teach for the community in general. So, you know, the ability to be able to house with what I want to see is the unlimited resources to, we're not rich and have like the NBA money and stuff like that where we could do, you know, so that's the restriction at times. And that's where but even though I say that, anytime that God put it on my heart to do it, I promise you, it happens.
It's done.
It's done. It's done. You know, it's done. So, you know, so you know, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. But like, since COVID, man, our numbers has reduced dramatically. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we got to, you know, work on different ways and strategies to build that back up. Yeah.
How about sorry, I got so many questions here, but how about the drug aspect of it too? Now fentanyl and stuff like that. Do you feel like that's getting better or worse in the past 10 years, at least where you're at?
Oh, for sure it's getting worse. But in the community that we serve, like what's crazy is it's not as prevalent. You know what I'm saying? Not like fentanyl and heroin. The young men that we deal with is like coke and weed. You
Okay,
know what I'm saying? That's
entry
kind
level.
of like, entry level, and I guess what you would call the cool drug, if you can. You know, and you know, so those are the targets that we pretty much, you know, have to kind of address. Yeah. Not really much fentanyl and heroin and stuff like that at this age. Yeah, thank God. But you know, I do work with some SACOT programs and different things where we do drug abuse, and you know, the older that, you know, we'll have to attack that. But from 10 to 18, typically not really involved in that. Yeah.
Because man, that's crazy.
It is.
The one of the questions I had too is, so raising young men. You mentioned something about music.
Yes.
What are you doing now?
Oh man, like since COVID, I haven't really, man. I literally just got in the studio like 2 weeks ago to record a song for the first time since COVID. You know, haven't done any music, kind of put it down. Haven't done any traveling with it or anything like that. So God is kind of stirring that gift back up, and I'm excited to see where it's gonna go, because the song that I actually started writing to is called "I Trust You." And, you know, and it's basically, man, just from a point of view where, you know, a lot of people, like what we're talking about right now, struggle in life early on. And when you go through so many struggles and so many things that's in life, sometimes you find it hard to trust. And you never know what your issues may be, you know what I'm saying? But it causes trust issues, you know, and like, I mean, as sad as it may seem, but I've been around long enough where we have plenty of kids who have been like molested, you know, and by someone that they trusted or should have been able to. And to be able to be in that experience, man, it leaves you so vulnerable that, I'm talking about young men and women, it leaves you so vulnerable, man, that you don't know what to do and who to trust. And that's kind of what birthed this song, is because, you know, we have to find a way to be able to break through, and even though with people, but if we could put our trust in God, then there's healing in that. If we could put our trust in God, then it's freedom in that. If we could put our trust in God, it's restoration in that. You see, God could take all things and work them together for the good. Like we're saying, that pain and things that we go through, but when we just open our hands and freely give it to God, that's, I think and I believe, sometimes not only is it the most healthiest way to recover and get over, but sometimes it's the only way. You know, it's the only way.
Yeah, man, I was talking to somebody about just what they're going through. Man, we were talking about all these different strategies and things we can do, right? There's CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, you know? Yeah. Obviously, there's what you put in your body from a nutrition standpoint. Are you drinking? Are you not drinking drugs? You're not doing drugs. There's so many different therapies. Are you reading? And there's all these things that will help. Like all these different things will help. But I told him, I was like, I think there's only one thing that's going to fully heal you, though.
Come on now.
And that's God.
And that's God.
He can heal you just that alone. Now, I'm not also saying if you're going through something just to pray it away, because it might not happen. You still got to take steps and other things to help. The same way you did. You got a new job. Your lifestyle changed. You had to build that foundation. All these things will help. But there will only and ever will be only one thing that will truly heal. And you got to have them in your life if you want full healing. In my opinion, I think it's pretty well backed up and validated. There's only one thing that'll heal, and that's God.
That's for sure. It's only one way. You know, when you're talking about music, that was one of my albums that I did, One Way, and and it's crazy. Go down this rabbit hole with me if you don't mind.
Yeah, man.
But so I seen this lady on social media, man, that's been going around, and she was kind of slanting the scriptures, man. She was basically saying that Jesus was evil and Satan was good. I mean, just crazy, right? And just twisting the scriptures. And I was thinking, man, if we're not careful about that, then, you know what I'm saying, people, it's false doctrines, false teachings or whatever, and people will be led astray or away. But at the end of the day, it's only one way, man. You know, I mean, it's many ways to skin a cat. You know what I'm saying? They said there's more than one way to skin a cat. But, man, it's only one way to heaven. And ain't no two ways about it. You know what I'm saying? That's Jesus Christ. It's made simple. And that's where all the healing, the love, and forgiveness is at. And in the song, man, it said, the chorus, it said, it's only one way, so put your trust in the Lord. It's only one way, so put your faith in the Lord. It's only one way, and that's through Jesus Christ. He could come and change your life if you accept him tonight. You know, and that's where it is. He could change your life, man. All we have to do is accept him, begin to live with him, and allow him, spend time with him, and allow him to mold us, heal us, and help us to grow.
Right.
It's in Jesus, man. It's only one. Hey, but that's a debate that a lot of people, that, and I get it. I ain't gonna say to each his own, but yeah, in my heart, that's my heart print. That's embroidered on my heart, man. Jesus Christ. Point them to Jesus, and everything will be all right.
I think, man, it's an exclusive claim that Jesus made, where he's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
We typically don't like exclusive claims. Like if you want to get in better shape, no one would say, "Hey, the only way is to lift weights,"
right?
Or the only way is to stop eating carbs. We don't like exclusive claims, and that's where he made it. And I struggle with that sometimes too. Like, man, what about all these other people who might not be a Christian, but they seem to be good people?
Right.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
But we also know, I think there's something different about Jesus. If you look at the Muslim religion, the Hindu religion, all these other religions, all these different ways, they all take some Jesus with them. Even the Muslim population believe that Jesus was a prophet.
Right.
I just don't think we can. It's self-evident that we're not ignoring him. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
And we all love. There's all the words that he speaks all hit people differently than some famous philosopher or anything like that.
Right.
But I think we don't like the exclusive claims, meaning that's the only way.
That's a great point.
Because we live in this world of it's your truth or my truth, and it's very relative, and it's not exclusive.
Right.
And it's something I wrestle with, but I believe it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
sure.
So I'm not saying I'm slanting it either. It's something I struggle with.
Yeah.
And it is hard to kind of grasp onto sometimes too.
Yeah, I agree 110%, man. Because like you said, it just when you put it that way, it's only one way, and then your life doesn't match the way that you're saying is the way. Our body has defense mechanisms and stuff that's going to start to protect us. You know what I'm saying? And then Satan is still out there planting lies and seeds.
Yep.
So those things are going to try to give us a crutch to lean on or accept and embrace something else as a way or an alternative. And and then you become comfortable with that, and you become, you have to. Because if you don't, man, you can't even live life saying that. Not in your right mind, saying that I'm going to keep doing whatever I want to do, but I know this is the only way, but I'm going to consciously keep making decisions to, even the scripture says, once you start rejecting Christ and those things like that, you be turned over to a reprobated mind, you know what I'm saying, which is crazy because, all things starts to happen then and flies because you have no self-control, no discipline, at all. And I don't know, man. I think that could be, I don't want to sound like that's the end to the be all, but I think that could be a lot of reasons why, we accept or people accept and do different things, because it's hard to live your life if you feel like you're on the wrong team. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't know, man. But anyway. Yeah.
That's good, man. Anything else you want to add? What else you got going on?
Man, we talked about the testimony, the music, raising young men. Yeah, man. Well, that's ministry.
I'll put some information on there, at least what you guys are doing, because I didn't know about it. I'm aware of what 3rd Street Academy is doing for those, and it seems like you kind of go hand in hand. It almost seems like when those kids, I can't remember what grade they go up to, 5th maybe.
Yeah, I'm not.
But it's almost like there's 3rd Street, and then it's nice you have your program because it almost like it's a bridge to that 10 to 18. And it's just so crazy because it's like. That's just a community of people filling that gap.
Yes, sir.
Of fatherlessness. And
Yes. And it's needed. So salute and hats off to, 3rd Street, Building Hope, all of that, man. Any programs that's out here helping the youth and supporting them, and churches, they're standing up doing their part, man. It's just, it's needed. It's definitely needed.
And I do feel like, too, the issue of fatherlessness, I do feel like it's becoming more, there's more awareness with it now. And at least for me, I don't know, I'd love to know your thoughts. My thought is I am hopeful for the future for fatherlessness. I think that it will be a epidemic of the past. Not to say not to say totally, but I do think it'll be squelched.
I do too, and I hope so. I pray so. And man, I have homeboys, man. That's dope. you know what I'm saying, tough fathers, you know what I'm saying, in their kids' life, home, wife, kids, you know, doing it. And even the ones that, you know, whatever life causes to be separate or whatever, still standing up, man, for the kids, you know what I'm saying, being there actively, you know, and I love that, you know what I'm saying. I started, you know what I'm saying, when I see a dad doing something for his kids, man, it just excites me and gets me going, because that's just love. That's love. So, you know, I agree. I think that, you know, we're moving in a better direction. You got households and you got kids that actually are able to see dad and see how parenting looks, you know, because I wouldn't say that I actually winged it, because, you know, I mean, shoot, man, I had no blueprint. I had no idea what to do. And the reason why I wouldn't say I winged it, because I feel like, man, the Spirit guided me through this journey and this process. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that, I think that is the best way to parent, man, with anything in life. But with parenting, man, is learning from God, because there is no set blueprint, and each child is different. You know, you even asked the question, which age shoot, different ages are different, stages are different, and each child is different, you know. But with the guidance of the Spirit, man, and praying for your kids and praying over your kids and praying that God will give you direction to be able to handle situations with your kids, will actually be the blueprint and the successful steps to take to make sure that you're doing it the right way, you know. And because like with me, I have to pray, because I know my weakness, you know what I'm saying. My patience is kind of thin, you know what I'm saying. So, you know, I got to let it breathe sometimes, you know, so God can have his way, because if not, then, you know, I might fly off the handle. But what, I just told you not to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just told you, you know. And you know, and you know, but at the same time, I believe you have to have a stern hand at times. But it's good to be led by the Spirit, because shoot, man, you never know which way you're supposed to go. Shoot, man, he told Moses to smack the staff one time, and it was the right time. Then Moses tried to do it again, and it was the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? So like, hey, discernment, man.
Yeah,
allowing the Lord to lead.
That's a good spot to leave off. I will say, man, I appreciate you coming on. It's like as soon as you sat down, that was the first moment I got to know you. But automatic, man, you have an energy, dude, and I'm excited to see what you're gonna do with the 2 cents too.
Yes, sir.
But I want to hear about that. I'm gonna put information about raising young men.
Yes, sir.
And just build awareness around that, because I think it's just awesome. But I appreciate you coming on, man.
Well, Matt, I appreciate you having me, my guy, and we'll definitely have to do it again.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.